Have you ever felt like your voice didn't matter until one moment gave you the courage to stand up and fight for what's right? This is my story. My name is Harper Bennett, and at 38 years old, I discovered that silence wasn't safety, it was complicity until I found the strength to confront corruption and create a legacy of change. I grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, a small city surrounded by the Blue Ridge Mountains. Life there was peaceful, but far from perfect. My parents were hard-working people who taught me the value of resilience and community. They always said, "Harper, if you see something wrong, don't just stand by, do something about it." Those words stuck with me throughout my life, even when I moved to Portland, Oregon, to pursue a career as an environmental activist. When I first arrived in Portland, I was captivated by its vibrant culture and commitment to sustainability. I quickly became involved in local initiatives aimed at reducing pollution and promoting green energy. For years, I worked tirelessly, earning recognition for my efforts to protect the environment. But beneath the surface, something sinister was brewing. A large corporation called Titan Industries had set its sights on our community. Titan Industries was a multinational conglomerate known for its ruthless business practices. They promised jobs and economic growth, but their true intentions were far more destructive. Under the guise of building a new manufacturing plant, they began dumping toxic waste into the Willamette River, contaminating the water supply and endangering the health of thousands of residents. At first, no one dared to speak out. People were afraid of losing their jobs or facing retaliation. But as the pollution worsened, I knew I couldn't stay silent. Determined to expose the truth, I began investigating Titan Industries' activities. I spent months gathering evidence, water samples, internal documents, and testimonies from former employees. What I uncovered was horrifying. The company had knowingly violated environmental regulations, bribed local officials, and intimidated anyone who tried to oppose them. Their actions weren't just unethical, they were criminal. But confronting Titan Industries wasn't easy. They had deep pockets and powerful allies, including politicians in Salem, the state capital. When I first approached the media, they dismissed my claims as conspiracy theories. Friends warned me to back down, saying, "You're going up against a giant, Harper. You'll get crushed." But I refused to give up. I reminded myself of why I started this journey: to protect my community, not just for myself, but for future generations. To amplify my message, I organized a grassroots movement called Clean Rivers, Strong Communities. We held rallies in Pioneer Courthouse Square, distributed flyers across neighborhoods, and used social media to spread awareness. Slowly but surely, people began to join our cause. Mothers worried about their children's health, fishermen whose livelihoods were threatened, and students passionate about environmental justice all came together to demand accountability. One of the most pivotal moments in our campaign was when we partnered with a journalist named Ethan Carter from Seattle, Washington. Ethan had a reputation for exposing corporate scandals, and he agreed to investigate Titan Industries' operations. His series of articles, published in the Seattle Times, brought national attention to our cause. Suddenly, the world was watching, and Titan Industries could no longer hide behind its lies. As pressure mounted, the company tried to discredit me, spreading rumors that I was a radical extremist with ulterior motives. They even filed a lawsuit against me, accusing me of defamation. But I stood firm, knowing that the truth was on my side. With the help of pro bono lawyers from San Francisco, California, I fought back, presenting irrefutable evidence of Titan Industries' crimes. In the end, the court ruled in our favor, ordering the company to pay billions in damages and clean up the contamination they had caused. The victory was bittersweet. While I was proud of what we had accomplished, I couldn't forget the lives that had been affected along the way, the families who had suffered from illness, the businesses that had closed due to declining tourism, and the trust that had been broken between the community and its leaders. But amidst the pain, there was hope. The movement we had sparked didn't just bring down a corrupt corporation. It inspired a new wave of activism across the country to honor those who had suffered. I founded an organization dedicated to protecting vulnerable communities from corporate exploitation. I called it Guardians of the Earth, a name that reflected my belief in the power of collective action and resilience. Through the organization, I provided resources, advocacy, and education to individuals and groups fighting similar battles. I also launched programs to teach young people about environmental stewardship, ensuring that they had the tools they needed to create positive change. One of the communities I helped was in Boise, Idaho, where a mining company was polluting the Snake River. When I first met the residents, they were frustrated and disheartened, unsure of how to take on such a powerful opponent. Together, we developed a strategy, combining grassroots organizing with legal action. Watching them stand up to the company and win filled me with pride, not just for their victory, but for the example they set for others. Another individual, Mia Thompson, shared a story eerily similar to mine. Her hometown of Charleston, West Virginia, had been devastated by chemical spills from a nearby factory. When she learned about Guardians of the Earth, she reached out for support. Together, we helped her navigate the complexities of environmental law, secure funding for cleanup efforts, and hold the responsible parties accountable. Her gratitude reinforced my belief that the work we were doing was making a difference, not just for individuals, but for entire regions. As Guardians of the Earth grew, so did my sense of purpose. I realized that Titan Industries hadn't just left me a legacy of pain, they had given me the tools to transform it into something meaningful. Their actions forced me to confront truths I might otherwise have avoided, pushing me to grow in ways I never imagined. And while I'll never fully understand why they chose to live the way they did, I've come to accept that their choices don't define me. Instead, they've shaped me into the person I am today, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to make a difference. But building Guardians of the Earth wasn't without its challenges. There were moments when I questioned whether I was strong enough to carry the weight of so many stories, so much pain. There were times when the memories of the lawsuits and threats threatened to overwhelm me, pulling me back into the darkness. But I reminded myself of why I started this journey: to create a better future, not just for myself, but for others. Through the individuals I met, I discovered something profound. Healing isn't a linear process. It's messy, unpredictable, and often painful. But it's also transformative. By sharing our stories, supporting one another, and taking steps toward change, we can reclaim our power and rewrite our narratives. That realization became the foundation of Guardians of the Earth, not just as an organization, but as a movement. Looking back, I realized that Titan Industries didn't just leave me a legacy of destruction, they gave me the tools to transform it into something meaningful. Their actions forced me to confront truths I might otherwise have avoided, pushing me to grow in ways I never imagined. And while I'll never fully understand why they chose to live the way they did, I've come to accept that their choices don't define me. Instead, they've shaped me into the person I am today, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to make a difference. Through Guardians of the Earth, I've learned that power isn't about control or revenge, it's about creating opportunities for others to thrive. It's about using your pain to fuel positive change, to lift others up when they feel like they can't stand on their own. And it's about recognizing that, no matter how broken you feel, you have the ability to rebuild not just your life, but the lives of those around you. If you're watching this and feeling powerless, remember, your voice matters. You have the power to turn it into purpose, to create something beautiful out of something broken. If this story resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more inspiring stories, and let's rewrite our legacies together.